Welcome to episode 25 of your favorite Mom Knows Ball with your dynamic duo. I am Jordan King, and that is the wonderful, the lovely, the not mad at me today, Melinda King, aka Mom. How we doing, Mom?
We're doing good. And you know what? It's what a difference a day makes. Because a couple days ago, we
The
weren't even.
podcast was close to being canceled, folks. A little peek behind the curtain. Mom and I were in a pretty big fight, and yeah, let's just say the plug on the podcast was in jeopardy. But Mom swallowed her pride, and everything is all good now. So yeah, here we are.
We're back, and I know everybody is. I was holding their breath that yes, the
Mhm.
podcast has been saved. And before we get started, there are a couple of things I just want to say. I want to say that we do this podcast, and it's a passion project for us, and I never know that I'm reaching people or that we're reaching people. But during the NFL draft, like I had so many people who I had no idea that they were paying attention to the podcast, reaching out to me, telling me, about people that got drafted and what are my thoughts on this. And because we've actually got a distant cousin. I think his name is Caleb Ransaw. I think his name is. And Ransaw is my mom's maiden name, who got drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the number of people who reached out to me, I didn't even know they knew I was a Jaguar fan or that I did a podcast. So yeah, we're like touching lives. We didn't even know it.
There was a lot of headlines for a draft that people were kind of like down on, like, oh, we don't really know what's going to happen. Are we really into this? Like, the consensus number one, that's not a really big story. But boy, were we wrong.
But we do want to celebrate that. So I think
Yes, we should
we had
celebrate it. Yes.
decided that we would use this, which made absolutely no sense. We're going to use this episode to break down the QB battle at Alabama, and yeah, we'll do that a little bit
no
later.
more worried about that. Yeah, I think that's.
And so yeah,
let's
it's
just
still
say,
very important.
let's just say that it is important. Yes,
but we just came off the NFL draft, and so today, that's what we're really going to talk about the NFL draft. We will do our Bet You Didn't Know segment. That's the segment where I tell one thing about Jordan that I bet you all didn't know, and he tells one thing about me, and then we kind of get into this NFL draft and on the highs and the lows of it.
And there were highs and there were lows.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, it's a life changing night for a lot of people. So I love it.
And as someone who's been there, and I waited for my name to get called a couple years ago, and I sat by the phone. It was. I kind of got flashbacks of the times where I thought I was going to get that call and I never did, and I feel for some of those kids. And it's like, don't give up on your dreams. I still have them. You never know. I could still get that call. I might be in my early 30s, but
hey,
never say never.
Players are definitely
with NIL these days. You never know.
But I don't remember that year that we were sitting around waiting on that call from the draft.
Maybe you weren't, but I remember it. It was maybe 2016, 2015. I was just graduated from Syracuse, and there was some hype. There was some chatter. I tried to show up to the Syracuse pro day, and security wouldn't let me in because they said something about me not being on the team officially. So I kind of gave my own pro day out in like the field house, and no one showed up, but I sent the invite to some NFL execs, and I still feel like maybe somewhere someone was watching it, and yeah.
I feel like we've said something very inappropriate because Tamara has put in the chat, what the hell?
No, Mom doesn't know how to work the technology. Tamara is responding to something when she didn't know that basically that the podcast was in jeopardy of being canceled. That was
Oh,
her response. So that was she had no. She was like, "Wait a minute, we were on the brinks of." It wasn't. Look, it was a very probably like for 5 minutes there was a moment where the podcast might have been canceled because again, but I want to say it, Mom had to swallow her pride and everyone's good, so it was my fault, y'all.
anywho.
Anywho,
Okay, so here's our bet you didn't know segment. Jordan, please tell me you have come up with something and you're not gonna
I
do it.
see you took my bet you didn't know, which was that bet you didn't know our last name Ransaw that we had a player drafted to our hometown team, the Jaguars. So I mean, way to jump the gun there. I don't. It's no one's fault. I would say maybe it's yours. I don't know. So that's
That
my
is
bet
not,
you didn't know.
nope. Nope, I'm not gonna let
Yep.
you get off that easy. I'm not gonna let you get off. You're supposed to tell something about me. So here I'm gonna give you a chance to kind of think of something. So last time the bet you didn't know, I talked about how Jordan had a career as a comedian for a brief time in LA. But I should have known this was going to happen. I should have seen this coming because in middle school, he was in a middle school play. I think it was a Music Man, right? It was a
It was
Music
the
Man.
music, man.
It was the Music Man. So, he was running across the stage, but it didn't stop there. In high school, he was Romeo in Romeo and Juliet, and he was
Yep.
also in Chicago. So he really has had quite the little theatrical career. And
Don't forget, in college, I was in a TV show
a TV
that won a that,
show.
that won a Webby Award, and everyone of the main cast were acting majors but me. So I thought that was cool. I auditioned because I was in like an intro drama class, and so I've acted. I always say I'm. That's why I moved to LA to be discovered. I'm just hoping one day I walk on the street and someone says, "I like your look." I bet you guys didn't know. I have one. Bet you didn't know. Mom is basically a little bit of a celebrity in at University of Alabama, and she created something called I'm gonna butcher the name, but it's basically like the career closet. So at the Career Center at University of Alabama, my mom came up with a great idea to work with the local, I think J.C. Penney or Belk or something, to have them donate a whole bunch of suits and wardrobes for people going for young college kids to go in, have something to wear for interviews. That's such a big thing where like because kids are in that age range don't have suits to go to interviews in. And so my mom came up with the career center closet, and kids were able to rent out suits, and I mean it was such a big success, and it's probably her biggest. I know she's something she's very proud of.
A little clarification, because I don't want to try to take credit for things.
I'll take full credit.
Having a closet, a career closet on college campuses is not a new idea, but at the University of Alabama, we did not have one. And so it was my department that implemented that. And that closet is now, it's a staple on campus. It is the thing I'm most proud of in my career. We have an endowment now. So that closet will always provide professional attire for students for interviews, career fairs, presentations, really whatever they needed for. Even when students would come to us and ask if they could borrow an outfit to go to a wedding, and there's no cost to them for that. So I am proud of that. I'm pretty sure Tamra fed you that information.
Nope, literally not at all. See, like I unlike you, I don't have to plan everything. I know so many facts about you that I can just come off the top, and
Okay.
I'm improv. And Tamara
Okay.
even just added in the chat. I didn't at 4:06, so you know that it wasn't
Okay.
like a. All right, so this is like I love.
Okay,
Right?
let's
Love.
get to sports. Let's
Get to sports. Even
So
though
I
I could
bet you
talk to my
didn't
mom
know.
all
You
day
got
about this.
2 more things that you didn't know. Okay, so the NFL draft. look, I'm super excited for Cam Ward. He was the number one draft pick. I think that because there were so many other things going on, like we didn't give him his proper props. So,
His
he did a
proper
great
props.
job. His proper props. Yeah.
His proper props.
We didn't give him enough
You know who had a great take about this was our friend RG3. But I
okay,
digress.
well, we haven't gotten to RG3 yet. And I just say I'm excited for Cam Ward. I think he's just the epitome of like the importance of finding the right fit in college because Miami, the Hurricanes were his third college. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. What is it that you wanted to say about Cam Ward and RG3? What did he say?
No, I wasn't. I'm getting a little bit of a flare. I'm gonna close this blind real quick, y'all. A little peek behind the curtain, as I say. Still getting it. That's okay. Anyway, no, I think I saw a tweet basically being like, look at how Cam Ward's dressed. No frills, very basic. Which I always am like, that is, I don't know. I don't like when we dissect what someone's wearing. Yes, he was dressed. I was actually surprised he was dressed very low key, but that should not dictate like if a person is going to be a great draft pick or not. Um, and so no, I think the Cam Ward thing. This is really gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I
I think
have.
I know. I think the Cam Ward thing is very. I kind of like that it's understated. I think there's always a lot of pressure with these quarterbacks when they get drafted so early, especially number one. And he's going to go to Tennessee and kind of be anonymous. Like it's weird to say that about a number one draft pick, but I feel like we're going to be so focused on so many other storylines, including what our own team did. Um, but yeah, shout out Cam Ward finding the right fit. I'm glad that the fact that he went to three different schools did not work against him because some would say it could have.
Yeah.
So no, I think that's great for him, and I think we should get into the real drama of the draft.
Okay, well, we gotta celebrate Travis Hunter going to the
Well,
Jaguars.
that's what I'm.
Yeah,
Well, no, but even that comes with we are Jaguar fans. Like
yeah.
my mom is kind of a so-so Jags fan. I am Duval till I die. I love this team. I want to see Super Bowl in my lifetime, and I will be at that Super Bowl. I'll figure it out. I'll sell a kidney. I will go to that Super Bowl, and I'll be sitting in the front row. Um,
He might sell my
we
kidney.
I no, I'll sell one of mine. You got two for a reason, folks. You got two for a reason. You when the trade first happened, we did give up a lot, and some would say we have this new young, little trigger happy GM, and maybe we gave up too much for Travis, and maybe we did. But I like the move. I like knowing what we want, and it feels like we got two players. Everyone's saying it can't be done. He can't play both sides of the ball. Blah 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 blah. You know what? He's shown time and time again that he is not like the others. He's one of one, and so let's wait and see if he can do it. And I just think it's a different game now, and it's not as physical, and so I don't see why he can't do the thing that everyone says he couldn't do. Man won a Heisman. Yeah, there have been guys who play both sides of the ball, but we're in a different NFL now. And so we need to take that with a grain of salt. I got my Travis Hunter jersey in the mail. It's coming. I love this kid. I love his energy. And I think it's a great pick, and it's gonna get the fan base hyped.
It's interesting. This morning, I literally, for no apparent reason, I had on a Jaguar shirt. I was going the building I live in. I went down to we have coffee, and so I went down to get coffee. Just happened to have on a Jaguar shirt. The guy gets in the elevator with me, and he goes, "So are you like you're a new Jaguar fan because of what just happened?" And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "What?" He said, "Did you just get that shirt?" And I was like, "Does this shirt look like I just got it?" I said, "No, my family's been Jaguar fans. Yes, we're very excited for Travis Hunter. We feel, and I also feel like now Trevor Lawrence has two of the best receivers. So
Yeah.
really, Trevor, come on now, the pressure
No,
is
I
on.
mean, the pressure it's been on. I don't want to get into my thoughts on Trevor Lawrence right now, but we're optimistic. I love the pick, and yeah, shout out Travis Hunter. All right,
Okay.
what else do you want to touch on draft wise, Mom?
Draft wise, want to talk on, all those Bama boys, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, I y'all know that I'm not, it's not that I don't like the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't, I live here, but I just don't talk about them. I don't think about them. But now Tyler Booker is a Dallas Cowboy, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. Now I know I'm gonna cheer for Tyler, you know,
Yeah.
but I'm feeling like I gotta cheer for the Cowboys as well. And Campbell was drafted in the first round. Jalen Milroe going to Seattle. We're kind of happy about that. We think that's a good fit for him. Malachi Moore was drafted later. Q Robinson, Tim Smith. The tight end, what is it, Robbie Oots? I may not be saying his name right, but I was very pleased in like how our Alabama players showed up in the draft, given that everybody views Alabama as having a down year. And so to me, like
Seven guys were drafted.
7 guys drafted, 2 in the
Which
first
doesn't sound
round.
like a lot, but you know what? It was still Ohio State had 14, Georgia had 13, Texas had 12, Oregon 10. Wow, Oregon had 10. Ole Miss had 8, and Alabama was tied with Florida and LSU and Michigan and Miami with 7. So
Like it's 7 players, and
yeah.
and I am very confident that they're all going to make the roster. So yeah,
Yeah.
way to go, Alabama. You still cranking them out for the NFL. So, okay. All right, let's just get to what we want to talk about. Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. So anybody who, I don't know what you've been doing. If you didn't know that Shedeur Sanders, there was speculation that he would be drafted as early as 1, but definitely in the second
we
round.
found out actually he's still waiting to be drafted as we're doing this podcast. Is still has he been it's been 72 hours now. I'm kidding.
He didn't get drafted until the 5th round, and he got drafted to the Cleveland Browns behind a quarterback that, he was definitely viewed as being a player that should have been drafted before him. Like that's what. Okay,
yeah,
so here's my thoughts on the whole Shedeur Sanders.
Well, no, you need to explain that better. Dillon Gabriel was drafted ahead of him, so it's a really crowded QB room, and everyone's making the jokes like the Browns do know that only one guy can play quarterback, right? I mean, so they basically are just throwing darts at the wall. Which, if you're Shedeur, you don't love that they've already drafted someone ahead of you. Basically, it's not even like they have a starter, but there's a guy that they valued more than you. So yes, I'll let you go now.
I actually think Dillon Gabriel is like, are you kidding me? So
yeah,
I
he's probably
this
pissed.
guy
He's
too.
like, I don't think either side is happy.
Yeah, because they have Joe Flacco, they have Deshaun Watson, they have Kenny Pickett, then they have Dillon Gabriel, and then they have Shedeur Sanders. But okay. So aside from the oddness of all the quarterbacks that the Browns have, there was a lot of things that I saw during the draft. Like I didn't watch Shedeur in many games this year. So I watched the media analyze the situation and talk about he would be a first round, second round draft. So I saw that. Then I saw all the anonymous stories that got reported on, how he showed up in these NFL interviews. And then I saw this outrage, after you've reported all this stuff about anonymous tips around his, whatever his conversations during these interviews, and then you're outraged that he's not drafted after you've really set this narrative up. So that's what I saw. But let me tell you what I saw that I'm choosing to remember from the Shedeur Sanders draft experience. I saw a father who was absolutely committed to helping and guiding his son and being there for him. That's what we want fathers to do, right? So I saw that. I saw a father. I saw a group of siblings that were there, and they were supporting him and they were cheering him on in a way that really, it kind of brings like a little slight tear to my eye because, you know, we feel that might have been some disappointment from him, but you saw his cheerleaders, his biggest fans, his hype people. And then when he got drafted, he said, all I wanted was an opportunity. And he was excited and he danced. And so for me, that's what I'm choosing to remember from Shedeur Sanders' draft experience. Support from his family, his excitement and his joy when he got drafted, and the fact that he said, all I wanted was an opportunity. So,
Yeah.
Hey, that's what I got on the Shedeur
No,
Sanders.
and I think the way he handled himself, I mean, it can't be easy, because he's got this Twitch live stream the whole time, and people are making jokes, and you have after night one you don't get drafted, and then after night two you don't get drafted, and you still have your live stream, and I respect the fact that he still showed, that excitement and that energy for having the opportunity. I mean, only 260, 57 players are drafted, and so he's one of them, and it might not be the ideal situation, but he's got an opportunity now to show. I mean, I don't even want to say 31 teams. I want to say 32 teams, even the Browns themselves, to show the team that drafted him, hey, I'm about to ball out. I'm about to do my thing. And so y'all can pass on me. Y'all can have all these narratives. We can make the comparisons. Oh, Brady wasn't drafted till the 6th round, or Brock Purdy wasn't drafted till the 7th round, or whatever. But I think he's got an opportunity now, and I believe that he is going to. Not that I think he needed to be humbled, because I hate that narrative. Well, this is the thing he needed to be. No, f that. He did not
I'm
need
with
to
you
be
on that, Joe.
humbled.
I didn't like that narrative.
Really hated. I hated hearing all of that noise about him needing to be humbled. I think he has humbled in his own way. I think his dad keeps him humble, and even though the outside kind of narrative might be that he's not humbled, I think that's stupid to me. And so we've seen players be cocky before. We love it. And for some reason, in this scenario, it did not sit right with a couple NFL teams, actually 32 NFL teams, because I'm not going to absolve the Cleveland Browns in this situation. But yeah, obviously, if I'm could not be rooting for a 5th round draft pick more than I am Shedeur Sanders. We are Team Sanders. And I'm excited to see what he does at the next level on whatever team he's on, even if it's not the Browns ultimately. I want to see him prove to everyone that y'all made a mistake. So we'll
Yeah.
leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that with the Shedeur Sanders, but I do want to circle back on something that you said around how somebody made some comment around how Cam Ward was, dressed really, no gold chains or whatever. Like, I don't understand why we feel like there is a very specific way that anybody has to show up for any type of situation. Like, I had no problems with guys with their gold chain, with their gold teeth, with their, like, that's how they wanted to show up for the biggest day of their life. And I don't understand how we, even with Shedeur, there was some conversations around, like, with his draft party, like, that he had these dimes. Like, so what? Like, that's what he wants to do. Like, why are we trying to tell people on one of the biggest days of their life, how they need to show up? And Cam wanted to show up the way he did. It was fine for him, but it wasn't the way that some other players wanted to show up. And that's fine.
Fine. Yeah, I think the exact tweet was Cam Ward, no flashy jewelry, no flashy suit, no flashy girlfriend hogging the attention. Just a regular suit, thin chain, alma mater pin, and his parents by his side. Yeah, he's playing 20 years of pro football. I just don't buy it. I don't like it. I just think it's revisionist history. And it's just Derico Henryo. I don't know, some guy. But that ended up being making the rounds of Dove Kleinman and all these other like NFL accounts. And so I don't know. Something about that like just screams out of touch. And I think show up how you want to show up.
Show
I
up
think
the
we
way you want
would,
to show.
yeah, show up what you're comfortable in. And every community has a different way of celebrating. And it should not be looked at or looked down upon. And I never understand that. And it's like, again, I don't want to. I just think we have different standards for different sets of people, and I think that like sometimes we just need to, you know what, we don't need to analyze every goddamn thing that someone does, and it's
So
okay to
Jordan,
show up how you want.
what would your what since you
Oh
were
yeah, I mean,
late,
I thought about this a
so
lot.
what's
So
your draft outfit?
obviously, I'm first round, like ideally, and I'm showing up to the draft. I'm gonna be in the green room. You're gonna be there. If I brought a girlfriend, you would probably leave her in the trunk. You'd be like, she's not going to be wherever. You would just like put her away. So probably just be me, you, Dad, and Crawford. We'd have to explain to Dad what the draft is and how the draft works and what sport we're playing. So once we did that with Dad, and then would probably Crawford would probably play the role of my girlfriend. He'd be the one trying to hog the attention. He'd be like, "Hey y'all, that's my brother. Hey, that's my brother over there. Hey y'all, that's my brother." I'm showing up. I'm not gonna go super flashy.
Jordan, what's it? Come on now.
The fit's gonna be. I'm thinking like a plaid blazer, a plaid blazer, a black undershirt. I'm thinking like J. Crew, elevated J. Crew vibes. Like
Okay.
I want people to know he's coming with a little bit of his own swag, and that swag is like prep school, with a little bit of like, I might wear fake glasses, I might wear real glasses, I don't know, but I'm definitely gonna throw in a little prepster, as if I went to Harvard, kind of look to it. Maybe some crimson in there. So I'm going that. Maybe get some khakis, a nice pair of those Louis Vuitton, whatever those like shoes that
Those
you wear
loafers.
with no socks under. Something
Yeah.
like that. Make sure I get a nice pedicure, and so I think I think that would be think that'd be my look at that point. Yeah. So, mom,
Look, and
hey, mom. More importantly, what would be your look?
well, we would clearly be color coordinated. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you know that. So whatever
Hmm.
color your blazer is, my dress, and
Hmm.
then, I would have to decide like, is this a night that I've got long hair or is this a night I have short hair? And,
Hmm.
my makeup team would be on standby because you're going to get drafted so early, however, that,
Yeah.
my makeup is going to be fresh. So, all
And
right.
and when I see Goodell, everyone gives him the hug. I'm gonna keep it cool. I'm gonna dap him. I'm gonna say, actually, I'm not even gonna dap him. I'm gonna shake his hand. I'm gonna be like, "Yes, Mr. President. Here you go, Mr. President." I'm gonna shake his hand like a professional, and I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna lift up
He's a
my jersey.
he's a commissioner.
Okay.
Okay, here's the last thing I'm gonna say about the draft. Why do they give those gigantic players those teeny tiny jerseys? They're so little. It's just so funny to me. Like I saw
Well, I think
Tyler.
it's like I don't think they're ever putting them on.
I
Why
know
do they
that.
always? I think it's always the hats that throw me off because these boys got big heads. They're big men. So just make all the hats like triple XL. They're always having to adjust it, and it's this awkward thing. Again,
Yeah.
as someone who's got a big head and would have been a future draft pick, I would just
Mm.
need a bigger hat. So no, I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you asking me what I wear because it's something I have thought about. So yeah.
I know, and I've thought about how we're gonna show up, and it's gonna be a big night
I
for us.
do like the idea of us explaining to dad like in mid my dad in mid draft, hey, so this is what happens here, and him just being clueless, and then Crawford every 5 minutes like flashing up a peace sign in front of the camera, being like, "That's my brother." It's like, hey, there's like probably like a name font, Crawford. They know that you are my brother, so you don't need to keep saying it. So
No,
I
I think
just
it
yeah
would be. I think it would be a fun night, and I think it's funny that you're right. Your dad would probably be like, "Why don't they? And why don't they call Jordan first? Why?
yeah
Why is it? Why they calling him like?" It's well, that's kind of how it works. But
yeah.
anyway, well, hey, this was another fun episode. It's
Yep,
going to be
yep.
some interesting edits to this episode.
I don't think there needs to be any. Release the J King cut. Release the director's cut.
And
Yes,
so, yeah, you all, again, we really do appreciate your
love the
support,
feedback.
support that we didn't even know we had. And, we're going to give you episode 25.
This is 5. This is
25.
25.
It's in the books. And so, Jordan, hey, do you know anything about ball? Do you know anything about ball?
Not only do I know a thing about ball, I played ball. I could have played professional ball. I decided not to. I decided to be a podcaster instead. Mom, do you know ball?
I'm of course I know ball, and Tam, I don't know, she's putting something in the chat. She's our producer. Tam, we
knows
you.
A lot of ball as well. Tam is a ball enthusiast, so yes.
And so we'll see you in 2 weeks. Subscribe, share, like, and comment. You send me these comments. Put them in the
Don't be shy. Make it public. Make it public, y'all.
All right.
All right.
See you
y'all later.
Bye.